A decades-long conflict that has claimed lives of millions of people so far flared up again this week after the U.S. administration's official relocation of the country's embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas accused Israel's military of carrying out massacres of unarmed civilians. But Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insisted its troops acted in self-defense and blamed the militant group Hamas for the deaths, BBC reports. Donald Trump has fulfilled one of his key promises during his election campaign, and the special U.S. delegation attended the inauguration ceremony on Monday. This coincided with the 70th anniversary of Israel's founding, and this move infuriated the Palestinians.
It shows that, it shows that the United States has lost its moral compass and really lost its credibility in committing this act. Because by committing this act, we are in a situation where the United States has abandoned the rule of law and adopted the rule of the jungle. Because we have a rule of law that control the international relations and deal with the issues, the conflicts in this globe that we live. And without a rule of law, then the powerful will eat the weak, and there'll be chaos in this world. So Jerusalem, in our opinion, no matter what Mr. Trump says, no matter what the Israeli government says, Jerusalem was a Palestinian city, is a Palestinian city, and will continue to be a Palestinian city.
Now, when it comes to President Trump's decision, President Trump's decision didn't alter history. It's just a recognition of reality. I can tell you that Jerusalem, for us, has been a capital since 1080 before Christ. 1600 years before Islam, 1000 years before Christianity. It was our capital for hundreds of years, and when we were expelled from our own country, always we were praying in exile next year in Jerusalem. And when the state was established, the state of Israel, then we established Jerusalem as our capital. And this is just a reality, historical reality. Having said that, I don't mean in any manner, and no sane Israeli will deny the importance of Jerusalem to other people, to other religions. To the contrary, since Jerusalem was reunited after 67 war, Israel did it whatever it could in order to guarantee freedom of religion, freedom of worship, and whoever come to pray, bona fide pray, and not to incite, is always welcome to Jerusalem.
The international community did not remain indifferent to the situation in the Gaza Strip. South Africa and Turkey recalled the ambassadors to Israel. Ireland summoned the Israeli ambassador to express the government and the people's outrage at the deaths of dozens of protesters in Gaza. On the other hand, the United States blocked the adoption of a UN Security Council statement that called for an independent and transparent investigation into the events on the Israel-Gaza border.
Successive Israeli governments believe that the only way to solve conflicts is through direct negotiations with our neighbors, with our bordering neighbors. Israel's Charter of Independence clearly stipulates that Israel offers its hand to its neighbors for peace and development. Regrettably, our neighbors for many years were reluctant to do it. Until two courageous and visionary leaders, Anwar Sadat, the president of Egypt, and King Hussein, the monarch of Jordan, were bold enough and decided to go for peace with Israel. So we have peace credentials. America, as I said before, had credential for being very instrumental in achieving these peace agreements. With the Palestinians, regrettably, reluctance from their side, reluctance that I mentioned before, recognize us as a nation, recognize our right to have our national homeland in our land, is the root cause of the conflict. And the fact whether the American embassy has been shifted to Jerusalem or not has nothing to do with the chances for peace.
I don't think as long as this government, Israeli government, is in power, and as long as the current American administration is at adopting these policies, there'll be any progress in this regard. But we are always hopeful. Our hands are always extended to the moderate Israeli politicians and people who want to achieve peace with us. But that moment hasn't arrived yet, unfortunately, because we think the extremist government, Mr. Netanyahu, and his cohorts in his governments has abducted the Israeli political system. When the time comes and the Israeli population vote to bring a different government, we hope that we would reach with the moderate elements in the Israeli political structure and the Israeli population, we would reach a peaceful settlement based on international resolutions, based on international law, based on respecting, on parity, on par, each other. No one is better than the other. When that moment reach, we will reach a settlement and we will achieve peace. At the current moment, unfortunately, we don't see this happening under this current government of Israel and under the leadership of Mr. Trump in the White House.
In November 1947, the UN General Assembly passed Resolution 181. The resolution included a partition plan that sought to create a Jewish and an Arab state, alongside Jerusalem as a separate entity under international trusteeship. At the United Nations General Assembly meeting on December 21st last year, a resolution was passed against the recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Türbet Bağırova, Rauf Hüseyinov, CBC.